Do we still need labels? This is something that, as a bisexual man, I have been asked repeatedly over the years. The idea that, oh, the world has moved on so much now, Lewis. Come on, why do you need to keep saying you're bisexual? People these days are fluid, or they're more pan or bi, or they just don't label things. And it's interesting because the way I've always interpreted it is that there is a bi umbrella, and under that bi umbrella, you might identify as bisexual, pansexual, fluid, all of those things are sort of encompassed under this umbrella. But why are the labels so important? And do we really need them, or should we do away with labels altogether, which is what a lot of people seem to think? Now, I am firmly of the keep my label and keep calling myself bisexual category. And it's for a few reasons. So, number one is that from a research point of view, I do think it's incredibly important that we actually put a name to people that are attracted to more than one gender, however you want to define it. But you need to be able to have a singular word that describes that experience so that researchers can say these people have higher mental health issues, or they are experiencing abuse, or they're much better in bed, as we know. If we don't have a word to describe us and to unify us, then it's really hard to kind of monitor what's going on. And if you can't monitor what's going on, you can't then identify an issue. And if you do identify the issue, then you can't find the solution. So for me, it's just sort of a logical, scientific point of view. We need a word for it. Second of all is if we start moving away from the label of bisexuality or whatever label you're using, it's just people chipping away a little bit more at your identity. You not being able to say, look, this is me, this is who I am. You're just going to have to deal with it and get over it. Not having that label means that you can't find other people like you, so that you can't actually say, look, you're bisexual, I'm bisexual too. Let's share our experiences. Let's make each other stronger. Let's share some tips and tricks. Let's build a friendship. I think that that's really important too, is being able to find other people like you and go to events for people like you. So for me, the label is incredibly important. And, I'm not really averse to all of the different labels people come up with. When I first was questioning my sexuality and not really sure, was I straight who just got a little bit drunk and messed around with men? Was I bisexual? Was I just on the way to gay? Before I was comfortable with any of those labels, I just used to say I was bi-curious. And that label really worked for me because it was meant I could say to people, look, I'm bi-curious. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not committing to any label. And that for me felt more authentic. I think it's a shame because there are a lot of bisexual men out there that will never really be comfortable with saying that they're bisexual, and that's up to them. But, I hear more and more from gay men of like, oh, yeah, I got with this guy and, he's only ever had girlfriends. And then, since we got together, he's gone on to have more girlfriends. And that idea that people just aren't really comfortable with saying that they're bi, or maybe don't feel that getting with a gay guy every now and again really justifies a whole sexuality. Like, some people just don't think of themselves as bi enough or queer enough. And that's a different issue where people almost feel that they don't qualify with the label. And I think it's really important to say, like, you do not have to prove any of your sexuality. If that's just how you feel and that is what you think best describes you, then just use the term. It's not that you have to go around with some sort of chart as a bisexual and say, yes, well, I've slept with 15 women and 15 men exactly. And it's just, it's ridiculous. So I think don't ever feel that you have to qualify or explain to people how you got to your label. Just be proud of where you are and be proud of the label that you have chosen. I do think it's incredibly important that people do not get bullied or pushed out of labels. And I know this sounds weird, but it feels like it doesn't happen so much to gay men, for example. It feels like it's anyone under the bi umbrella. If you're bisexual, if you're pan, or if you're fluid, or whatever it is, it feels like there is always a push to say, well, are you sure that that's really how you feel? Like, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And it's always this kind of effort, it feels like, from certain people to just push us into something that they're more comfortable with. I'm not going to stop saying that I am bisexual, and I'm not going to shorten it to bi either. Like, bisexual is a term I identify with. That's where I feel most comfortable. And it's about sort of being unapologetic about it, saying, look, this is it. You like it or lump it. Like, I'm not going to change. You change. I'm not going to change. I think that is really where I'd like everyone to get to be. So do leave your labels in the comments. Let me know how you identify. Let me know if you have had any backlash to how you've identified. Let me know if you've actually changed your label. and why you did it and what was your thinking behind that? I'm really curious to know.